Hello, Steve Peacock here from the Dragon's Arm. This is a podcast called Teams Without Limits, about teams, and welcome. Thank you. Now, today I was thinking on a discussion I had the other day with a friend of mine, and I was trying to explain the different coaching stances that are available. Now, the ones I use, there are 9 coaching stances. They came from all sorts of different places, but that's where it ends up, 9 coaching stances. And by that I mean you go into a situation and you choose whichever coaching stance that seems appropriate for the team and the situation and at the time. Some might be, for example, the expert, where you're there to advise. Others, you're there to observe. All these different types of stances you get to. Now, in my book that I wrote, I talk about developing a 10th coaching stance because I feel there is a need for it. Coaches too often relate to asking questions. And what do you think we should do? How should we go about it? What happens there? Which is great. It allows the team to start thinking and making their own choices, which is marvelous. But there are times when teams need a leadership stance. This is what needs to be done. Try and figure out how is the stance that I'm talking about here. Sorry if the camera's moving a little bit. There's a bit of wind out here at the moment. So what I'm talking about here is, let's assume for a moment that the team we're talking about is Google Maps. So I go to Google Maps and say, Google Maps, I need to be in Sydney. I'm currently in Brisbane. I need to drive to Sydney. Now, a team obviously would turn around and say something like, Steve, why don't you just fly? But I want to drive. I want to see the sights, everything else, so I'd want to drive. So I went to Google Maps. Now, Google Maps will then say, then pull up an immediate direction for me to go, how long it's going to take me to get there, all the rest of it. Now, obviously, it's more than one day's driving to get from Brisbane to Sydney. Australia's a reasonable size. So it's a matter of you can then ask and tell that Google Maps that you want to arrive by or before 6 p.m. and after 12 but before 6 p.m. on the second day, on perhaps next Wednesday, because you've got a presentation there. Now you're giving Google Maps or your team all the information that it needs now in order to make a recommendation. And that's what you're doing. You're giving them a need, and then it's up to Google Maps to work out how to get there. You can even tell that you need to stay overnight in a particular place, which is good on the way. So you might have 3 or 4 hours driving first, you stay overnight somewhere nice, and then you carry on in order to get there in the afternoon of Wednesday. So what the 10th coaching stance does is it says teams need direction at times. They need to know what they're trying to do, not how to do it. They know how to do it, but they need to have a definitive requirement of what it is that they're delivering. And that is the outcome that you need from them, not the output. The output is the miles you cover, for example, and the outcome. And it's up then to that team coach or team lead, if you like, to be able to assure that the outcome is always in the vision and not tied up behind the output. For example, Google might say, oh gosh, we can do all the way over to Perth and all the way through Melbourne and then back up to Sydney. That's a lot of miles that we can output. And look, you've done so many miles today. That's wonderful, but it's not getting to our outcome, which is arriving in Sydney on Wednesday. So the idea is that 10th coaching stance should be a leadership stance. And this leadership stance says, team, this is what we need to have done. Work out how. So the team goes away and works out how, but they've got that vision in front of them of the outcome that is required. So I hope that helps. See you again later.